I'm Anthony Wilroth, and welcome to Eyes on Como, where we take a look at Columbia and Boone County local government and politics, and more lately, the Columbia Police Department. And that's because they are always up to something shady. The other day, Mike Murphy of Como Buzz reported that the police department has named a suspect in the homecoming shooting back from October, and that suspect is one Danya Jackson. And that Danya Jackson was actually the plaintiff in a federal civil rights lawsuit against 13 Columbia, Missouri Police Department officers and the city of Columbia that was set to go to trial just last month, but was dismissed after their attorney, Steve Wise, died and they were unable to find new counsel. Now, I'm not going to go too much into the details there, but you should read the story. I'm going to link it down below. What I'm going to talk about today is the fact that I have seen body cam footage, over an hour of it, related to this case. Now, unfortunately, I can't share it because I don't have possession of the footage, but I can absolutely characterize it for you and tell you that as salacious as this lawsuit is, the real story here is one of a 13-year-old girl who was a victim of sexual assault. And that's what kicked this whole thing off, and Columbia Police Department responded horribly. This was the day that the Columbia, Missouri Police Department failed in every imaginable way, and the event was led by now Chief, then Lieutenant Geoff Jones. So let's back up to the very beginning of this whole event, and I'm going to explain to you what I saw on this body cam footage. This happened on September 30th, 2018, and it kicked off when Danya Jackson's girlfriend told Danya that she had been sexually assaulted by her stepbrother, her older stepbrother. And Danya and his older brother Daquan, who was 19, this is important, was 19, went over there with another adult friend to confront the stepbrother about the alleged sexual assault. They confront him and they leave. The parents of that family then call the police. And when the police show up, the mother tells the police that they saw somebody hand a gun to the driver of the car that Danya, Daquan, and their friend were in as they left. Just simply hand a gun as they were leaving. No gun was brandished while they were confronting them about this. Just on the way out, she happened to glimpse one. So they passed that along to Lieutenant Jones and Lieutenant Robert Fox, who decide that they go over to the Jackson's house because they believe there is a gun there. They get there and they assault the Jacksons. Chief Jones pushes Eddie Mae Jackson. Robert Fox maces Daquan Jackson unprovoked. The dog then lashes out at Robert Fox, and Robert Fox maces the dog. Geoff Jones maces the dog. Geoff Jones, at that point, if I remember right, maces Danya. It's a whole mess. They search the house without a warrant. Ultimately end up charging Eddie Mae with counterfeiting because they found bills that were clearly marked for motion picture use. And again, this was kicked off because of a reported rape of a 13-year-old girl. But rather than investigating that, the cops are off on some wild goose chase for a gun over at the Jackson's house. Eventually, Jones gets the word that the gun was never brandished in a threatening manner, that it was simply seen being passed from Daquan Jackson to the driver of the vehicle, from one adult to another. The person at the scene, the mother, very clearly identified by describing the clothing of the person that Daquan Jackson, not Danya, was the one that she saw hand a gun to the driver. So then the police come together and have a little powwow. And at this point, they literally start whispering. And they come up with a plan. And this plan is that if they can get somebody to say that Danya, the minor, had touched the gun, that then they can get a warrant because they can have a minor illegally possessing a firearm charge. But nobody said that Danya had touched the gun. So they go back and get the mother from the original scene and decide that they're going to do a roll-up and bring her by to ID who she saw with the gun. At this point, she IDs Danya, even though she had clearly ID'd Daquan before. Now she's saying Danye. So now Geoff Jones knows that he has what he needs to get the warrant. Even though he's already searched the house and been in there without it, he arrests Danye. They end up arresting the 13-year-old girl that was trying to report her rape because the mother said she was a runaway, that she had run away to the Jackson's house, even though she had brought her to the Jackson's house. So, whole mess. Started with a 13-year-old trying to report a sexual assault of her brother. The police don't confront the brother. They arrest her. They go on a wild goose chase for a gun at the Jacksons. They assault the Jacksons. They assault the Jacksons' dog. They arrest Danye Jackson. Finally, a couple hours later, they're back at the station and they're like, oh, I guess we need to investigate this sexual assault. And this is where I need to tell you about a lovely quote from our police chief, Geoff Jones. The mother of this girl seems more interested in protecting the stepbrother than the girl that's reporting the rape, all right? And so she is saying that she doesn't believe that the girl is telling the truth. And Geoff Jones at this point says, if she's acting up, you need to whoop her. I whoop my kids. Said that to the mother of a girl claiming sexual assault. The mother then goes, you can do that, we can't do that, that's illegal. And Geoff Jones replies, it's legal in Missouri. And she says, it's not in Illinois. And he goes, well, it's legal in Missouri. I mean, there's a line, you can't leave a mark, but that's discipline, that's legal. That's your police chief, ladies and gentlemen. A 13-year-old girl is claiming that she has been raped, and his response is to tell the mother, you know you can whoop her, right? I don't know how anybody can hear that and think that this man can continue to be the police chief. They end up interviewing the girl. It's very clear to me at this point that she has indeed been sexually assaulted. I believe that 100%. And they ask her whether she wants to go back to her mom or whether she needs to go into protective custody, be that foster care or to a friend or to a hospital. And she says, anywhere but back with my mom. And they say, all right, we'll work that out. They didn't work that out. They released her back to her mom. Ultimately, the Jacksons filed suit. Like I said, you can read all the details of that suit. I know that they're all absolutely true because I watched every single one of them on the body cam footage that I watched today. But remember, this wasn't just the Jacksons' rights that were stepped on and the Jacksons who were failed horribly this day. This girl who was trying to go to people to help her because she had been sexually assaulted was failed in every imaginable way. And that was led by Chief Geoff Jones. In the meantime, keep your eyes on the case against Danye. Because like I said, he has been named by the Columbia Police Department as the homecoming shooter. But all they have to link him to it is ballistics from a gun that he is supposedly known to have carried. Is that the gun that he was supposed to have known to carry in this case? Who knows? They've messed with Danye once before and tried to say he held a weapon that he didn't hold. So, what's going on this time? We need to watch it closely. I usually end these videos saying keep your eyes on Como, but this time I'm saying keep your eyes on what Columbia Police Department does to Danye Jackson.